Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Thursday Morning Live. Good to see you again. I am going to be joined this morning by a good longtime friend of mine. We were just talking about it this morning. I think we've known each other about 18 years. And it's interesting how you build relationships with people and how they last, right? And one of the things about building relationships, I always believe, is that you can plant the seed, but then you have to water it. And I think one of the things that my guest and I have done over the years is we've continued to water each other and continue to grow together and side by side. He's been very supportive of me through some tough times, but I'm going to be joined this morning by Chad Coe. Chad is a transition specialist. He's a master connector. And I love that he's a master connector. He says that in his LinkedIn bio. But here's what's really cool about that is that he really knows how to build relationships. So this morning, we're going to talk about building relationships. We're going to talk about being an entrepreneur, what the world is like today, what it's been like over the last couple of years, and where we think the world's going to go. Thursday morning is always just sitting back, having a cup of coffee, just chatting with a friend, and just bringing some good content out to the world. So I'm glad that you're here this morning. I'm glad that you're looking in. Remember, please, the only thing we ever ask is that you go to our social media platforms, like us, love us, subscribe to our YouTubes, and just stay involved and follow us. Let me bring Chad in. Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How's it going,
Good
man?
morning. It's going well. It's a good morning.
Got your
cups
coffee?
of coffee. Got my FBI mug this morning, I think, and I'm all set to go.
Hey, you know what's cool is you and I would go to Starbucks and do this in the past. And
We
it
would.
wasn't until a few years ago that they started this virtual thing. And now you meet here. What's really cool about the being able to meet virtually like this is that it's made the world so much smaller, right? I have been able to, and I know that you've had the same experience. We've been able to talk to people in Vietnam and Hong Kong and London and all over the world.
Australia. Yeah.
I have friends in Ireland,
Spain.
and yeah, it's crazy what social media has done and what these platforms have done. Anyhow, hey, why don't you do this? Introduce yourself to our listeners this morning. Tell people who you are, what you're about, and why we've been friends for so long.
Well, I go back with you about 18 years or so. And a little bit about me is just that I founded Co-Financial Group, a financial service firm, about 25 years ago. And before that, it was the regular, get a job, work, and try to pay your bills. And when you're an entrepreneur, as we're talking about here today a little bit, it's how do you get business and how do you get like a lifetime of clients? And what I learned early on is I enjoy people. So if I have relationships and I'm able to help people, as Zig Ziglar says, the more people you help, the better your life becomes, and the bigger you get, and people hire you and people work with you. That's been my go-to is to help people get where they want to go, and then in return, there's a fair amount of people that said, hey, you know what? I want to help Chad get where he wants to go. So it becomes almost like a partnership, which is then a friendship and lifetime relationships. I've also, like you, written some books and put some good messaging out there that people seem to appreciate. Basically, my thing is to help people create abundance, to remove roadblocks, and to do it with people on their team versus having to go through and do it alone.
Yeah. And, that's always been your message. And I think one of the reasons we connected, and we were kind of talking this morning about who the guy was who introduced us way back when. And one of the things I noticed about you right away when we first got together or first met each other was I said, hey, I need somebody for this. And I don't even remember what it was. You said, hey, hang on. We walked into your office and you pulled 3 leads right off your computer, printed them on your printer, and handed me the lead sheets and said, here, call these people, tell them you're a friend of mine. And from that moment on, we had this bond. And I think that when you're in the world of building relationships and business building, that to be able to connect people and help people grow in their business and have what's really cool about it is if you have no stake in it. right? And it's just all about what you're doing for that other person. And that's really cool. But how's that served you over the years? How's that helped you grow over the years?
Well, it's interesting. I ran for mayor of Deerfield back in 2009, and JD Gershbein, a friend of mine uh, with LinkedIn, put out a message and said, "Hey, is anyone here able to recommend Chad for mayor?" And within 48 hours, I had 500 recommendations, written testimonials that are still on my site. And he was one of the first guys to help me understand the power of LinkedIn, power of relationships, power of written testimonials, and to be able to grow together using platforms such as Facebook and LinkedIn. Today, with over 15,000 followers and connections, I've been able to use that to help people connect to other people. So if you want to know a CEO, president, CFO, entrepreneur, consultant, over the years, I've been able to develop relationships with people who, when I send an email or a message on LinkedIn, they actually respond and say, "I'd be happy to talk to your person." The other thing is helping unemployed executives get jobs, which I've become pretty good at over the last 20 years by helping people connect to companies. I found that the hit rate's been pretty high, given that I've taken the time to develop these long-term relationships with people who not only help people also connect and get jobs, but just when they're working at companies like Abbott, AbbVie, Chase, U.S. Bank, or just companies that are out there in general, uh, the the response rate's been pretty high. So I'm happy to forward resumes, happy to connect, happy to help people with their messaging, and then take that to be able to introduce them to other people.
Yeah.
Something that I've been doing for since my career began.
Did you say that you have 15,000 connections on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I have more than that, but who's counting?
Yeah. Well, you know what? And here's what I know is a guy that has over 10,000, 15,000 connections, and you're as humble as you are. You know, a lot of people think that
Well,
that's a big thing, right?
well,
Um,
Mike, some people actually say, you have 15,000 connections, but how many people do you actually know? And
yeah.
what's crazy is that the numbers work. That if you ask me to introduce you to someone that I'm connected to, 9 out of 10 people respond favorably saying, "I'm happy to help your relationship." So
Mhm.
I don't necessarily have to know them real well. They follow and know me. And I've also been putting out, which I would recommend everyone does, these 1 or 2 minute videos about who you are and how you help people. A couple of days ago, I got a phone call from a gentleman who said, "I love your spirit and attitude. You keep offering to help people. I love to talk to you." We set up a call. It turns out that he didn't know I was a financial advisor. He's a wholesaler in the business selling real estate investment trusts. And we developed a relationship today where I'm actually going to look at what he has and see if it's something that we could bring into our company. So it doesn't cost anything to be able to reach out to someone and have a 10, 15-minute conversation and just see where it goes.
Yeah. So, do you think that you had a conversation with all those people?
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no. It could just be a connection. It could be that I saw him somewhere. It could be that we just message each other. It could be strategically that it's a target. It could be that someone's unemployed and I offer to help them. Then they have a job. And when I go to ask them to help now that they're working at a company, they're like, "Hey, I remember you when you were offering to help me when I was unemployed."
Yeah.
People have memories, people see. The other thing I've noticed is, let's say, uh, 60% of the people in the country are on LinkedIn. No, of the 100% of the people on LinkedIn, 60% are active users. So there's a fair amount of active users. When you put yourself out there and say you're going to be on LinkedIn, I think you're open to connections and you're open to interacting with other people. And therefore, it's just the way that they're wired, that they also want to be able to help and give back. You're giving them a chance to do it. So don't be shy, let them help you.
You're also a TikTok star, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah, yeah. I love TikTok.
yeah. Hey, so here's what's cool about LinkedIn, right? Like, so this year I really focused in on working LinkedIn. And this year I've added about 7,000 connections to my LinkedIn. I think I did 3,000 Zoom calls over the last year. But this goes back to I teach people how to build relationships, right? So I reach out to somebody who I'd like to connect with and comment on them, on their profile, and how do I add value to your world? Because because Chad, this is another lesson I learned from you is how do I add value to your world? And so when we give back to somebody else, so I always tell people, I say, hey, listen, you got to plant the seed, but then you have to water the garden in order to bring the harvest in. It's just like being a farmer, right? So
Right.
one thing that I always love to do is I make that connection, and then I go back and make another connection. Then I try and get on and have a meeting. I talked to one guy one morning. He does not put anybody in his LinkedIn unless he has a telephone conversation with them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he'll pick the
Yeah.
phone up. But here's your LinkedIn profile, you have all your contact information in there. Some people don't do that. It's like a
Yeah.
big secret, but don't be.
I want to reach people, and if you can't reach them, and it's easy to reach them, then it takes away the fun out of it. Some people want you to know their email address. How am I getting your email address? I might even know you, but you're too busy to even share the email address, and we need to have a quick conversation. Or I have the ability to give you someone who's a multi-million-dollar opportunity. Why are you making it hard for me to make the interaction? There's nobody out there stalking you, chasing you, abusing it. And if they are, you're allowed to block them. So keep it simple for people, and keep it simple and stupid. The other
Yeah,
thing is, if anybody wants to connect to me on LinkedIn, or wants help, or wants guidance, or wants motivation, I'm an open. Reach out, connect, and let's have a few minute conversation. I have 7 or 8 meetings today, and there's no one that I don't have time for who's asking for help.
yeah. I had 13 meetings yesterday, all Zoom meetings. And one of them was on a podcast and recorded on a podcast for someone. So, it's interesting how you can fill your schedule. And there's tools out there today to do that,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Calendar links. And I use a calendar link through my CRM, and, I know you do too. And it's just easy to connect with people, but hey,
Right.
listen, if you're a connector, if you're a relationship builder, if you're somebody who wants to meet people, then don't be a secret agent about it. Go
Right.
ahead, open up your
Yeah.
doors and step out there. And you know what? Connect with either one of us too if you want to meet.
And the other thing, Mike, is we have the ability to help people who want to get to another level. So I have a worksheet that says, are you happy? Are you focused? How motivated are you? What's your faith level? What's your levels of where you want to go? And, I think you and I are pretty much 8, 9s, and 10s in our perseverance, and our attitude and our giving. The other thing is, because of that, we have, million or multi-million dollar businesses, and at least we used to, or you used to. And that being said, you could do it again, right? How many people have built a company and lost everything and built it again? You have abilities to be able to share with people so that they could do that. They could either do it with you, or they could do it alone. You're happy to share with them some of the things that work, some of the things that don't work, but you're willing to share. And it's good to get out of your own head and talk to other people about their successes, and continue to keep learning from them. I tell
Yeah,
people, you could have a coach, but you're allowed to have 2 or 3 coaches too. Just keep learning from the people that have something to share.
that's right. You got to, and you kind of alluded to this, but you got to get out of your own way, right? You got to have forgiveness, you got to be grateful, and you got to get out of your own way. I think 3 big things that we all need. But you're right. I don't want to be a cat with 9 lives. I mean, I'll take the 1 or 2 losses that I've had over the years, and the last one was pretty devastating. But today it provides a story for other people, right? I have this story of strength and hope and inspiration that's fueled by success, loss, and redemption. Because when you lose $100 million company, you go, damn, what did I do wrong, right? So,
Right.
hey, listen,
Well, hold on, Mike. Sometimes you get out above your skis too, and sometimes we make mistakes, but sometimes, we have outside influences that push us, encourage us, and share with us things that are misleading. Or
Mhm.
once you start making a mistake, you go down a path, and the path doesn't stop. And the bottom line is, today you're living as a different person, where you don't need to have $100 million company. You're going to be good with a company where you can provide for your family, provide for others, provide for your friends, because that's the kind of guy you are.
Yeah. So, here's what's cool about what you said, right? Is one of the big things and one of the lessons I learned was that I didn't listen to other people. I didn't listen to people around me. And when I did, it was wrong advice. So I'm walking into a board meeting, and if anybody wants to read this story, you could go to my website. It's a case study I wrote that we had published last year in the Business Journal of Ethics. But I'm walking into a board meeting, and I had a board of 12 men and women that were a hell of a lot smarter than I was, right? And I had every intention of going in saying, hey, look, this is what's up, guys. And my attorney, in-house legal counsel, meets me in the parking lot and says, time out. We're not talking about that. I said, how can we not talk about it? He goes, we're not talking about it. So long story short, I let him direct me. And a lot of times we do that in our life. When your gut tells you to go in a direction, and as a CEO, an owner, an operator of a business, and you go in a different direction, that's on you then. So
Yeah.
I take full.
But do you remember, like you had a partner that you just loved and you had his back?
Yeah.
And I sat at one of our executive meetings and I looked at you and I said, you might love him, but as things are getting weird and confusing, would you take a bullet for the guy? And you said, well, I have to really think about that one. And you did take a bullet for the guy. And here you are on the other side of it. But you know what? We're going to continue to persevere. We're going to continue to help others. And we're going to continue to see if we can't just have a really great, awesome life and carry other people on our back as we do that.
It's about being resilient today, right? And my story is somebody else's strength today. That's what I believe. My story is somebody else's strength today. Hey, here's what I want to talk about in the last few minutes we have is life as an entrepreneur. What's it like to be an entrepreneur? You know, Chad, you and I were entrepreneurs. We started our own business. I think you and I both been in business for ourselves since we were in our 20s, right? But today it's like the sexy thing to do. Everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It's the cool thing to do. You can't even hire help because everybody's an entrepreneur today. What do you think life like that is like?
Well, I'm actually coaching 3 entrepreneurs right now. And the bottom line is some entrepreneurs want to invest in their life financially to get where they want to go. Others don't. And I believe that you have to have a serious business and marketing plan that you update regularly. And you have to have financials that say, I'm willing to invest in myself and my company and risk everything to be able to get where I want to go. It doesn't mean that you have to risk it. No, it doesn't mean that you have to lose it. It means that you have to put it up to risk. And you have to have a fire under your butt. You know, you have to do what's hard so that life is easy on the other side. And I go back to when I was first a financial advisor, I used to cold call the operator. And as I cold walked the Sears Tower and the security guards escorting me out of the building, I asked him for his business, you know, because I wanted to get used to asking for business. You have to do the things that are hard and challenging. And then what happens, the universe gives you opportunity, business, and allows you to move forward with your goals. And then you just continue to build those goals. So if your goal is to make 100,000 the first year, 100, then make your goal 200, then 500, then a million, and continue to build and have a plan to be able to build. But really, do what's hard today. Get in there and really dig in and do those hard things because it gets much easier down the road.
Yeah, for sure it does. Well, listen, buddy. Hey, it was good to spend a few minutes with you here this morning. And,
very fun, Mike.
Tell people how they get a hold of you, Chad, when they want to reach out. And you know, and one thing, talk about your latest book. I think you got a book that just came out a few months ago.
Well, as an entrepreneur, my wife and I am an auctioneer. I do charity auctions, you know, around Chicagoland. Not as many today with COVID, but we were doing about 20 a year.
Give a little bit right now. Let's auction.
Do that.
Do that whole stick right now.
We'll auction the picture behind you. And how many dollars on it? We got 1,000 over here. Now 2. What about 2? What about 2? Now 3. I got $3,000 sold for $3,000. How's that?
That's perfect.
So I wrote a book called The Auctioneer's Apprentice. And if you go to mastermindconnections.com, there's a tab on there to be able to download actually the free book or to buy it on Amazon. One of my goals was to be able to not only write this book, but to actually make it an Audible. So the Audible is also available at Amazon. And people find it to be inspirational. It's about taking your foot off the brake and doing something that you want to do to be able to have a happy, fulfilling life. So you could find me on LinkedIn at Chad Coe. You could email me at chad@coefinancial.com. And I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Twitter. I'm everywhere. I just like being out there and connecting with people.
Thanks, Chad, for being here. I'm going to go ahead and move you back, and I'll be there in a minute.
Thanks, bud.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for being here this morning. And hey, let me ask you a question. Where do you get your motivation from, right? What are you working on for yourself, personally, professionally, and how are you growing? You know, we just had a great conversation about being an entrepreneur. We just had a great conversation about life in the world today, and how do we grow? How do we grow our relationships? How do we build into other people and help them grow their businesses and their relationships? Well, listen, if you're someone and you maybe want to be a guest on Thursday Morning Live and enjoy a cup of coffee and a short conversation about business building, entrepreneurship, and whatever else you're at in the world, reach out to me. Let me know. I'd love to talk with you about being on, have some fun, and just kind of enjoy some time in the morning. So if you're a networker and you want to reach out and network, you want to build a relationship at all, give me a call. You can reach me at mycoreintentions.com. And if you want a copy of my book, Exit Plan, go out and get it. It's go to my website at mycoreintentions.com/exit plan, and you can download a free copy. Hey, everybody, thanks for being here this morning. We'll be here next Thursday and every Thursday after that. Have a great week.